Coming up on today's show, we have some holiday treats that I'm sure your family will love. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Rhonda.
And I'm Laverne.
And today we got some holiday baking that you've made for us for years, but we like to share with everybody else.
That's right.
Got some awesome quick things that doesn't take long to make and everybody
Yep.
loves.
And none of this here that we're making tonight is that you have to bake.
Okay.
So the first thing is peanut butter balls.
Okay.
And I think that was given to you by a coworker.
Oh yes, Lori sent at work. Her mom makes these, and that's one of the things that she always asks for at holiday time.
Yeah.
And she shared them with me in the past, and I'm like, you know, when's your mom gonna make your peanut butter balls?
So
we got the recipe.
So we did. We're gonna melt a fourth cup of or a half stick of butter.
Okay.
Or a fourth cup, whichever easier. We'll just melt that. That doesn't take very long at all. And then it asks for 2 cups of peanut butter and 2 cups of powdered sugar.
Okay.
And 2 cups of cornflakes.
Okay.
And then we just take those and we're going to shape them into little balls. And we put them in the freezer, and then we dip them in almond bark.
How easy.
But delicious.
Yeah, that's the
It
most
doesn't
important.
have to be difficult to make it good.
Anything with peanut butter and chocolate, that's
Yeah.
okay in my book.
It goes together well, doesn't it?
It does.
Okay, let's just see. I think our butter already here is melted. So I'll add the 2 cups peanut butter.
And this makes actually a fairly good sized recipe. I mean, that makes quite a few peanut butter balls.
It does. It makes about, what did we?
About 5 dozen.
5 dozen. You're not making them real big, but still they're a nice size. And like I said, it was about 5 dozen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we're going to just mix that up there. Now I'm going to add the 2 cups powdered sugar.
Okay.
And we'll just get that. I'm going to get this mixed well before I put the crushed cornflakes in.
Okay. A little bit easier to blend a couple ingredients and.
Yes. Yeah. Because, you know, when you're mixing this, it looks like, oh, that's a lot of powdered sugar, and it's not going to be enough, you know, wet consistency to make the cornflakes stick in there, but it does. And it always helps too if you have a bowl. I mean, I like to use something like this so that I can hang on to, and it'll mix up better for me.
Sure.
Or easier just to do that.
You wouldn't have the bowl sliding off the cupboard.
Not a good idea. Okay. Well, it doesn't take too much there, and I kind of got carried away with my powdered sugar, so I'll add that in there.
You can get your workout on this, don't you?
You sure can. Okay, now we're going to add the cornflakes. And I just took the cornflakes and I put them in a bread bag and you know, just mixed it out there or crunched it so I didn't get the cornflakes all over the place, and you know, all in one nice convenient bag. Okay, now we've got the cornflakes mixed in there well. So I'm just taking a cookie sheet and put some wax paper on there, and we'll just put them on there, just, you know, and they do roll really nicely. And I like to make them about this size because that, you know, you don't want too much at once. I'd rather eat 2 than 1 big one. And so
2 or 3 or 4.
It doesn't seem like it adds up much if they're small ones and you eat 2 instead of 1 big one. And and they roll nicely. And you know, the peanut butter and the butter in there, it doesn't really stick to your hands at all. So we can have a race here, you know.
I would never win this race. I don't cook quite as much or bake quite as much as you.
Yeah, well, someday when I'm not here, you'll have to have your own tradition, and your kids will want you to bake.
I'll just teach them to bake it.
Okay. Well, I think Addison likes to be in the kitchen.
She does.
So
she likes to sample.
So hopefully that'll, you know, stay with her when she gets older.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we're all done here, and we have about the 5 dozen right there. So we're going to put them in the freezer, and we want to have them nice and cold and firm, so when we dip them in the almond chocolate bark, it dips easier.
Okay.
So the next thing we're going to make is microwave peanut brittle.
Okay.
I got this recipe from my sister Joanne many years ago, and it's the only one I ever used for peanut brittle, and it works out great every time. And that's so first of all, we start with, being it's microwavable, you want a good sturdy microwavable.
Okay.
Because it does get pretty hot. You want to make sure it's not something, you know, this is a pretty heavy glass, and that's kind of what you want.
Okay.
Or whatever. So we have that, a cup of sugar, and we need a half a cup of corn syrup.
Okay.
And then we're going to microwave this for 4 minutes. And when I start out with that, I always go the 4 minutes. Later on, when we take it out, there's a couple other things, you know, it'll say 3 to 5 minutes. And our newer microwaves are a lot hotter than what the older ones were.
Okay.
So you want to, you know, probably not start out with going, you know, the full 5 minutes right away, because that probably might be too much.
Okay.
So I just mix that a little bit together. And I'm going to put that in the microwave, like I said, for 4 minutes on high.
Okay.
So, well, we got that going. We're going to make, I'm going to just start with a couple of things here. This is called kind of like goofballs or whatever. We take a bag of Kraft caramels. You're going to unwrap a whole bag of Kraft caramels. Use a 1/4 cup of butter or half a stick of butter.
Okay.
And then we're also going to use 1 can of condensed milk.
Okay.
We'll just get this mixed in here because this needs to be microwaved. We'll have to wait till our peanut brittle is done. And what we do with this, we just melt that together. And then we take large marshmallows and we dip that into the marshmallows, or the marshmallows into the caramel, and then roll it in Rice Krispies.
Okay.
You know, and like we were talking, it's one of your brother's favorites, you know, and that and stuff. So that's really easy. And again, have something that, you know, is safe to microwave and that. So we're going to just set that over here while we're waiting for our peanut brittle to get going.
And that, you were talking a little bit earlier, the peanut brittle has to be in a thick glass bowl. Just be safe with that. With the second one, just a microwavable bowl. It doesn't need to be anything.
Right, because it's not going to get as hot like the peanut brittle does. You know, the sugar and the corn syrup and that. When you're going to 4 minutes, it's getting pretty warm. You know, it's hot.
Okay.
And that I used to use one of my big Pyrex glass bowls.
Okay.
That I got as a wedding gift. You know, that set, and I used that for years. And one day when I was making my peanut brittle, I was making like 5 or 6 times the recipe. Well, the bowl was getting pretty darn hot, and it kind of cracked on me. So usually for 1 or 2 recipes, it's not so bad. But if you're going to make more, the bowl does really get hot, so you got to be careful with that. So we'll just wait a few more, just another minute and a half, and then we'll add our next ingredients.
Okay.
And the next ingredients is we're just going to add a cup of salted Spanish peanuts.
Okay.
And I always use the salted Spanish peanuts. you can use your raw. A lot of peanut butter brittle recipes ask for raw peanuts, Spanish peanuts, but this you want them salted, and it looks like I got a generous helping, a cup, and extra peanuts is always good in that. So then when we put that in there, we're going to just mix that up a little bit. And this is where it says microwave 3 to 5 minutes, and I usually go to 3 minutes because my microwave is pretty warm.
Okay.
We take that out, we add a teaspoon of vanilla and a teaspoon of butter, put it back in for about another minute, and then you put your soda in there, you take it out, put your soda in, and you're ready, it's done.
That's pretty easy.
It is, very easy. 4 minutes is up here, so let's get that out here, and I'm going to stir in my peanuts. Okay, and like I said, this is where I'm going to put that back into the microwave for, like I said, about 3 minutes, because you know your newer microwaves have so much more power than the old ones and stuff. So we'll just wait a little bit, and we'll take that out, and we'll be done in no time.
Okay, sounds good.
3 minutes is up with that, and let's just stir that a little bit there.
Just be very careful because this is hot.
It is very hot, yes. So this is where we are going to add a teaspoon of butter
Okay.
and a teaspoon of vanilla. And I do have liquid vanilla too, so for this here, I am going to go ahead and use my liquid vanilla.
That sizzles right up.
It's hot, yes it is. So just stir that up and melt. That butter's melted, of course, right away. And now we're just going to put this back in the microwave for, it says a minute, 1 to 2 minutes. And at this time, I put it in for probably about a minute and 20 seconds.
Okay.
Is what I do with this here. So let's put that back in there and get that going and stuff. So like I say, it's a very quick recipe, and if you undercook it, it's going to be, it won't be as crunchy. It'll be a little bit more chewier. So you want to, make sure you have that right consistency, because when you know peanut brittle, you don't want it chewy, you want it crunchy.
Okay.
And
And
stuff.
so when we put it in here, how long does it take before it hardens up and you're able to break it into pieces and serve it?
Not very long. What I do is, I'm probably making several batches. I put it in here, I put it in the refrigerator, and by the time I got my next batch ready to put in the pan, I take it out and
Ready to
put
go.
it in a container, and that pan is ready to go again. I don't do more than one pan.
Okay.
So it's just a few more minutes there, and I know there's a lot of favorite recipes out there with peanut brittle and that, but like I said, this one has just always been a easy and a favorite.
So if somebody's unsure when making this, is there a certain temperature or just a kind of a surefire way? I mean, I know you've made this for a long time, but for our viewers that haven't made it, that like to try it.
Well, the thing is, you can, I would go on the lesser part of the time, like when it says 3 to 5 minutes, go 3 or maybe even just 4 minutes, because if you can always put it back in the microwave if you don't think that it looks brown, starting to caramelize a little bit, but you can't, undo it if you have it too long.
Okay.
Because then it does kind of get brown, and your peanuts can have a little burnt taste to that.
Okay.
Okay, so you put your soda in and mix that up.
It was about 1 tablespoon or a teaspoon?
1 teaspoon of soda,
Okay.
of your baking soda. And that just foams that right up. So we'll just put that here.
Now, is this a recipe that you double easy?
I wouldn't, like I make usually, from 5-6 times the recipe, but I don't double this one. I've not ever tried it, but for most candy recipes, it's not a good idea.
Okay.
And it doesn't take very long, so I would suggest, not.
Okay.
So we just put that in there. And you can see already that that is a nice brown caramelized color. So I'm going to just spread that out a little bit here.
Doesn't take long to start to harden.
It doesn't. It definitely doesn't. So the spatula is a little bit too soft to be able to spread that. And like I said, use your fork or your spoon and just to, spread it out and make it a little bit thinner there.
Okay.
But it's got a really nice caramel color to it, and that's what you want with your peanut brittle.
Okay.
And if you get it, it doesn't have to be solid or whatever, because actually when you break up peanut brittle, you have your smaller pieces there too. So, okay, so that went very quickly. So let's just put that into the refrigerator.
Okay.
And just put that right in there. Okay, finding room in the fridge. Okay, then as she's making room for that, I'm going to put our Kraft caramels and our condensed milk and 1/4 stick of butter into the microwave.
Okay.
I'm going to put that in at about, I'm going to start with 2 minutes. And that doesn't take long. You don't want to put it in too long, put it in, stir it up, double check it, and you don't want it to any, heated temperature. You just want it melted and warm, where when nice runny consistency, so when you dip your marshmallows in there, and that it's going to go quite fast.
Okay.
And so while we're waiting for that, you're just going to use some big marshmallows. We'll just take, I had a bag that was open here, and we got another bag. This makes about, you're going to use a full bag of marshmallows when you're doing this.
Okay.
So then we're going to just put some Rice Krispies into a bowl. Because you're just going to roll that in there. And then we're going to use some fondue sticks here to poke the marshmallows and, to dump them in the caramel and then roll it in here. Works great for that. And we'll just take out a couple of sheets of wax paper and put it down.
Okay.
And you can use a fork, but what's nice, the less tongs that you have sticking in there, the easier it is to get the marshmallow off without, squishing it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So we're going to go over here, and that's almost, my 2 minutes is almost up. So I'm going to just stir that a little bit. And I can see that's getting hot, but it'll take a little bit longer for that caramel to melt.
Okay.
Let's get this, stir that. And then we'll melt our almond bark to dip our peanut butter balls in. And almond bark doesn't take very long at all to melt it in that. So I'm going to just go back to another 2 minutes here.
Okay.
And we'll just go back over here and we'll just wait a few moments.
Sounds
instead. Let's just double check to see how, oh, this looks like, that's great. I did put it back in for a couple more minutes and stirred it and then put it back in for about another minute. And you want it to where it's nice and smooth, all the caramel is melted and that. So while we're working with this, I'm going to put my almond bark in the microwave.
Okay, for the peanut butter balls?
That's right.
Okay.
And I'm going to just, while we're working with that, I'm not going to put this on high right away because I don't want it to get too soft or whatever. So we just take that and dip that in there and just put it in there and just push them off. Just get a few made here and show you what.
Ow.
Was that? That was that was hot, huh?
See, there's a reason that I don't cook.
Yeah.
I just eat.
Okay. Yeah, the caramel is warm, so you don't want to
Yeah, it is.
get.
If you're accident prone, you know, you may need like an extra fork or something.
Right here, you know what we can do is we just need to get out a couple more of these, and then you can push it off with that.
Perfect. Save a trip to the emergency room.
Right. And this goes fast, and if you find that your caramel is setting up too much, just put it back in the microwave and just heat it for about another, 25, 30 seconds. It doesn't take much,
Okay.
to bring that back up to, consistency where you want to where you're going to work with that.
So the viewers might think, oh my, Laverne's such a good cook. Why didn't Rhonda ever help? This is just an example of why I probably didn't help growing up. I was more trouble in the kitchen and she could do it faster.
Well, it's never too much trouble to be working with your daughter.
You say that now on camera. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the viewers might not agree with us.
I'm seeing some of these ladies that let us know that they watch the show and they're just grinning and saying, yeah, it's all coming back now.
Right. But it is fun to make traditions, and you have your favorite things that you're going to make for the holidays, and each one has their favorites, and you can never leave one out. So
that means you're gonna make divinity yet for
oh,
me, huh?
well, I might. Rhonda's favorite is divinity, and I thought
Because
this
it's pure sugar.
yeah, I thought I would cop out with not making divinity this year, but I'm kind of informed that that's not a good idea. So I'm going to get another spoon and we'll go over here, and I want to just check the almond bark. And as you can see, that is already getting soft. And I had put it in for 2 minutes at the power of 6. Like I said, and you don't want to make it too high either, because you don't want to scorch it. So we'll put that back in there. And I'm going to go for another 2 minutes, and I'm going to again put it on about half power of 5.
Okay.
So then as soon as that's done, we can set this aside and we will start dipping our peanut butter balls.
Okay, sounds good.
Oh, that looks like that's about ready. Get that stirred up there.
Okay.
And then why don't you take our peanut butter balls out of the freezer?
Okay.
Yeah. Again, anytime you're working with almond bark or thing like that, you just, if it starts to thicken a little bit more than you want, just put it back in your microwave for a few seconds. And so we're going to just take that and roll it in there.
And again, this is probably hot. Don't use your fingers.
Okay, we'll give you that right away. We'll make sure that we don't send you to the emergency room with 3rd-degree burns yet tonight. So just roll that in there, and I just like to dab that against my spoon to get off the excess chocolates. No, not too much, but then is there ever too much chocolate on anything?
You wouldn't think so.
No. So like we talked about, these fondue forks just aren't for fondue. They work great.
This is kind of like a little fondue.
Mm-hmm, it is.
Okay, I lost my ball in there.
And the almond bark does set up pretty quickly. Doesn't take too long to harden.
I don't think you want me helping you with these, Mom. This is just a...
It's
I'm better with a spreadsheet than this.
A little bit too technical here, huh? We're going to cover up my little... See, then you can take a little bit of chocolate and just cover up your little fork hole there. Yes, absolutely. Then nobody knows where you made that poke.
Fill in the hole. All right.
See? Yeah, learn all these little tricks that...
Well, so you make it look too easy.
Well, sometimes when you don't aren't doing it on camera, it's easy to fix up your messes.
Okay. So there's hope for me, is that what you're saying?
Well.
Okay. When your mom doesn't even...
that I don't know why, but that wasn't one of your things that you like to do, is be in the kitchen. And I don't think I discouraged it, but...
Well, you know talent when you see it.
But there's always the differences, growing up like myself, in a big family, and, you learned to do a lot of things because that's just what needed to be done to make a large family run smoothly, so. Okay. We might just set these aside now and take out our peanut brittle and just kind of show some of our finished product here.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, we'll just put that aside. And I'm going to put these back in the freezer here. There we go. And we'll just put that peanut brittle out, and when you look at it, just see how nice color that is. And you pick that up and it just breaks into nice pieces right away. See that? And sometimes, if you think it's going to stick a little bit, just twist your pan and, it'll loosen that up right there. So.
Well, and these are just 3 of the many, many, many things that you cook, bake for a holiday. And we are very fortunate in our family to have a mom that likes to bake and cook and does make all our favorites, divinity again.
Yes.
So we'll see if that happens, and I'll let all the viewers know.
All right. You're really putting me on the spot, aren't you?
And we'd like to thank Lori Sin and her mom for submitting the recipe for the peanut butter balls. We sure do appreciate it. To get these recipes, just go to our website, www.ctctel.com, and please submit your recipes for us to cook for you. Also, thank you to the workshop for being our sponsor. Thank you so much and have a great day.